Hey guys, I hope you are having a good day. This is lesson 8 of the classification of animals, and this lesson is called Mammals, Live Bearing Milk Producers. So the time has come to learn about mammals, so hopefully this will help some of you on your writing piece that you're working on. If you remember, we have a mnemonic device that is supposed to help us remember our different groups of vertebrates, right? All my best friends represent vertebrates. A, M, B, F, R, and then vertebrates. So the A stands for, say it with me, amphibians. The M stands for, say it with me, mammals. The B stands for birds. The F stands for fish. The R stands for reptiles. And the V stands for vertebrates. So that's a good way to remember. Here's some words that you will hear, some vocabulary words that you will hear throughout our read aloud. Diaphragm. It's a noun, it's a thing. It's a layer of muscles that separates the upper and lower body sections in mammals and creates a space for the lungs to expand when they breathe in oxygen. So you have a diaphragm, and we'll talk about that today. Infancy. Infancy is just another way of talking about babies. The very early stage of life in which a mammal gets nourishment from its mother's milk is infancy. Mammary glands are a noun. They're the milk-producing organs found in female mammals. The word marine is an adjective. It describes something related to the sea. And then the word stately, which is an adjective. It also describes something grand or impressive in size or manner. All right, so make a prediction. What do you think are the characteristics that help taxonomists classify animals as mammals? What do you think from what you've learned so far? Well, we are about to find out. Well, boys and girls, it's me, Rattenborough, back again. Today we're going to talk about a group of animals that you already know a little something about, based on your own personal experience. Hilda Hippo is one of these, and I am one of these. Remember our mnemonic? Remember our mnemonic device we just went over? All my best friends represent vertebrates. Yes, the letter M in the word my stands for mammals. And guess what? You are mammals too. Who can name some characteristics of mammals? In what ways are you like Hilda and me? What keen observations you make. Yes, we are warm-blooded vertebrates with hair. I think you could help me teach this lesson. Let's begin with the name of this group, mammals. It comes from the Latin word I can't say it. Mammalia. There you go, mammalia. The word mammalia refers to a group of animals who possess mammary glands. Mammary glands are milk-producing organs belonging to female mammals. When female mammals give birth, they secrete a nourishing substance, milk, to feed their young. That is one of the primary characteristics of mammals. We feed our young milk. That's right. Rats drink mother's milk, hippopotami drink mother's milk, and so do humans. The mother's milk has all the nourishment that a baby needs. How wonderful is that? A baby rat that has its mother nearby never has to raid or charge through garbage cans for food. He can stay inside where it's warm, enjoy a lovely liquid meal prepared by his mother's own body. Looking at this slide makes me a little sad when I think back on the days when my mom always had a warm meal ready for me. Before the days when I became an adult and now have to hunt, sometimes for long, grueling days, just to find a scrap oops, excuse me, students, I just got lost in a lovely memory. of my childhood. Please forgive me, and we'll get back to my slides about mammals. After all, the show must go on. Mammals have backbones. Reach around and check out your back once more to make sure your backbone is still there. Of course it is. Without backbones, we wouldn't be able to sit up straight or hold our heads in the air, and our spinal cords that house the nerves that send messages to our brains would be unprotected. So, because we all have backbones, scientists call us what? Yes, quite right. We are all vertebrates. Reptiles, amphibians, and fish all have a relatively low metabolism, and as you have learned, are classified as cold-blooded animals. You see the turtle in the picture? Like birds, mammals, such as this horse, have a high metabolism, burning lots of energy to help them maintain a constant internal body temperature. You see the horse in the picture? What is the term that taxonomists use to classify mammals in terms of body temperature? Yes, we are all warm-blooded. So think about how much more energy a horse would need than a turtle would need, because turtles don't move around as much as horses, right? So horses have to have a higher metabolism. One of you was right when you said that mammals are covered in hair or fur. Some of us are hairier than others. Hilda hippo and other hippopotamuses don't look so hairy, do they? But you might remember that they do have a little bit of hair around their mouths and on the tip of their ears and tails. Let's take a look at a few of our furrier friends. Here's one of my favorite mammals. I love his stately long neck and envy his ability to reach high into trees to eat leaves and to see into the distance. I'll bet that if I were as tall as a giraffe, I could spot my enemies more quickly. Does anyone know what this other animal is? It's a yak. Yaks need their shaggy hair and dense woolly undercoats to help keep them warm on the cold Tibetan plateau where they live. The Tibetan Plateau on the continent of Asia is the largest and highest highland in the world. Let's see. I want to see who has been a good listener. And I want someone during our afternoon meet to remind me to show you some pictures of some actual yaks. Okay, so remind me during our meet. Let's see who can do it. Okay, so here's a picture of where the Tibetan highlands are, the Tibetan plateau. Okay. So if you can see, Tibet is in Asia, and it is right here above Nepal, right? On the other side of the world from us. Tigers and leopards have fur too. Look at this Bengal tiger and this beautiful snow leopard of Central Asia. Both of these cat species are on the list of endangered species, a list of animals whose numbers have dwindled due to the loss of habitats and overhunting. They're so beautiful. That's so sad that there's not as many of them anymore. Furry bears come in all shapes and sizes and live in all different parts of the world. Look at this giant panda. It has many characteristics found among different kinds of bears: polar bears, black bears, grizzly bears, and sun bears. Who can tell me what the first three letters in the word kind are? Right? K-I-N, kin. There are two other words that have the same letters that start the word kind: kindred and kin, which means same kind or family, and are words to describe people who are related or who seem like family, right? The giant panda is a good example of an animal which has proven challenging to classify. Taxonomists have actually changed their mind about which animal it is most closely related to. They used to classify the giant panda with the red panda in a group that included raccoons. Now, with the help of more modern scientific tools, taxonomists believe the giant panda to be more closely related to bears, even though it eats mostly bamboo. So in this picture, you can see that the scientists have a special computer equipment they use that that taxonomists see the important parts within animals' cells. So they look down to the building blocks of what everything is made of, the cells of the living organism. Using this, scientists realized more recently that the giant panda has a tiny cell part that is more similar to a tiny cell part in bears. I think it at least looks more like a bear than a raccoon. Does anyone know what this is? It's a marmot, a type of squirrel. And here's another type of squirrel, a flying squirrel. These squirrels don't really fly, but they have two folds of skin on the sides of their bodies that let them take great leaps, gliding through the air with the help of their tails for steering. The only mammals that can truly fly are bats. They have skin between their long fingers that stretches out, turning arms into wings when they open. Bats may seem like birds, but they are not because they have no feathers. They actually have a fine fur, and bats give birth to live young. I think you'll recognize these more common mammals. What do you see in these pictures? A horse, a sheep, a deer, a fox, a rabbit, and a cat. And I'll bet some of you have furry mammal pets, don't you? Take a look at the fur on this cat. Now that's what I call furry. This is a Maine Coon cat. I must say his fur puts my fur to shame. Most, but not all mammals are terrestrial, meaning that they live on land. Can anyone think of an aquatic mammal or a mammal that lives in water? I'll give you a hint. One of them is my friend Hilda. Ah, yes, hippopotami love the water, but they are actually semi-aquatic, meaning that they live partly in water and partly on land. Usually, Hilda and other hippopotami stand in the water during the day to keep cool. Then they graze on land when evening falls. Through recent study and discussion based on the data of special computer equipment you just heard about, taxonomists now think that the closest living relatives of hippopotami are whales, which are full aquatic mammals. Scientists used to think that hippos were most closely related to pigs, but now new information from modern scientific tools is changing the way hippos are classified. Interesting. So they used to think they were related to pigs, now they think they're related to whales. Whales are marine mammals, meaning that they live in the ocean. The blue whale is not only the largest mammal, it is the largest animal on Earth. Blue whales can grow up to 100 feet long. That's a little longer than a basketball court. Its tongue alone weighs more than 3 tons. Imagine that. Manatees and smaller whales, such as dolphins and porpoises, are also fully aquatic marine mammals. They share saltwater seas with walruses and seals, semi-aquatic animals that like to wander on shore just like Hilda Hippo does. So marine mammals mean they live in the ocean. Marine mammals are believed by many scientists to have evolved from land mammals, and they share many of the same characteristics. They are warm-blooded, have backbones and fur or hair, even though sometimes it is the tiniest amount of hair, and they breathe oxygen from the air. Remember when we talked about how fish use gills to breathe in oxygen from the water? Remember how in amphibians those gills develop into lungs, requiring amphibians to come to the surface of the water to breathe air? Well, mammals also have lungs. All mammals have lungs and an underlying diaphragm that assists breathing. So look at this picture of a diaphragm. This is an image of a human diaphragm, which is a thick sheet of muscle beneath the lungs. The diaphragm in animals works the same way. So your diaphragm is right there under your ribs and under your lungs. It helps push the air out of your lungs when you breathe. When the diaphragm tightens, it creates more space in the lung cavity, and air is drawn into the lungs. All mammals, including whales, porpoises, dolphins, and manatees, must come to the surface of the water now and then to breathe. Some mammals also live in fresh water. I want to introduce you to another semi-aquatic relative of mine. This is a capybara. He, like me, is classified as a rodent and likes to swim. Have I told you, incidentally, that I, Rattenborough, am a good swimmer? I am rather proud of that fact. The capybara can stay underwater for a full 5 minutes without coming up for air, a feat that helps him escape predators. Did you know that capybaras are one of the favorite foods of anacondas like Anna? Uh-oh. Watch out, capybara. Another semi-aquatic mammal, also a rodent, is the beaver. It makes its home near rivers along with river otters. One of the most unusual semi-aquatic mammals is the duck-billed platypus. It has a large rubbery bill like a duck in the bird group, the flat, broad tail of a beaver in the mammal group, and a reptilian webbed feet. This odd, venomous creature lives in Australia. So platypuses are mammals, even though they have bills and they have webbed feet. The duck-billed platypus is unusual for another reason. It is one of only a few mammals that lay eggs. Spiny anteaters, also native of Australia and nearby islands, are the only other egg-laying mammals. All other mammals are live-bearing, which means they give birth to live young. The young are nourished inside their mother's body, and most are fully developed when they are born, looking like smaller versions of their parents. A few, like kangaroos and possums, are part of a group of mammals called marsupials. All right, here's what a marsupial is. Here's a picture. A marsupial is a kind of mammal with a pouch that serves two purposes. It is the place where a newborn marsupial lives, and it contains the mammary glands. Marsupial babies are very underdeveloped when they are born, but they move directly to the mother's protective pouch to be nourished by her milk. All mammals, whether hatched from eggs or born live, feed on the mother's milk in their infancy, to while they're babies. As warm-blooded animals with high metabolic rates, mammals must eat more food than other animals their size in order to store enough energy to keep their bodies warm. So what do mammals eat? Think of all the different types of mammals that you've learned about today. Then think about your own diet. Do you eat the same food as cats or dogs? Do elephants eat oranges? Do whales eat green beans? Mammals eat a variety of food depending upon where they live. Some mammals are carnivores or meat eaters. Others are herbivores, eating only plants. Still others eat both plants and animals and are called, yes, omnivores. So you are probably an omnivore. Remember learning that birds' beaks may provide clues to their diets? The same is true of mammals' mouths. Wide mouths and sharp-pointed teeth suggest that these mammals may be carnivores. Wolves, whales, and bats are all carnivores. Herbivores are more likely to have long jaws, long tongues, and flat teeth. Deer, sheep, monkeys, and pandas are all herbivores. Omnivorous mammals include bears, possums, chipmunks, and mice. Many humans are omnivores, but humans think about the choices they make about what they eat. Omnivores generally have a sharper front teeth and flat teeth for chewing in the back of their mouths. Think about your mouth. Do you think humans were designed to eat meat, only plants, or both meat and plants? Why? What do you think? How are your teeth designed compared to these other animals? Next time we'll look at the last of my slides. Be ready for a review of the 5 vertebrate groups of the animal kingdom: amphibians, mammals, birds, fish, and reptiles. I'm sure you are becoming quite skilled at classifying animals, and we'll get to have some fun with doing just that. Can't wait. See you soon. All right, so remember what we've learned about mammals when we go to fill out our classification chart later. What word part is the same in the word mammalia, mammal, and mammary? The part mamma, right? What do all of these words have in common? They describe mammals. And it comes from the fact that mammals have mammary glands. What are mammary glands? Well, mammary glands are the organs in mammals that produce milk. Why is milk important for mammals? They use it to feed their young in infancy. How would you describe the body covering of a mammal? It is covered with hair or fur, or at least has some hair and fur, right? How does the fur on a yak and on other mammals help them? Right? Mammals have hair to keep them warm. You heard in the read aloud that giraffes have long, stately necks. How does this body characteristic help the giraffe? Well, with a long neck, the giraffe can see far away, right? So they can see when their enemies, when predators are coming towards them, right? And they can also use their long necks to reach the leaves on tall trees to eat. In the read aloud, you heard that most mammals are terrestrial. What does that tell you about where they live? Terrestrial means they live on land. Do all mammals live on land? No, marine mammals live in the water. What is the main organ mammals use to breathe? Well, mammals have lungs. Who can tell me what this muscle is called and why it is important? What is the muscle under your lungs that helps you breathe? That's right, it's called your diaphragm. I wonder if Miss Cat has talked about your diaphragm when you're singing in music class. I know that it is important to your singing voice. Think about all 5 vertebrate animal groups and explain what makes reproduction different for mammals compared to all of the other 4 groups. So mammals don't lay eggs except for pattern breakers. Most mammals give birth to live young, whereas amphibians, birds, reptiles, fish all lay eggs, right? What do most baby mammals look like in infancy? Most baby mammals look like a smaller version of their parents. Just like when you were born, you probably looked like a smaller version of your parents. All right. What are the major characteristics of animals in the class of mammals? Write a few sentences for me about the characteristics of mammals. We know mammals are warm-blooded vertebrates. They have fur or hair. They have mammary glands to produce milk. They give birth to live babies. Let's compare and contrast mammals and birds. So if we're comparing and contrasting someone, we're finding similarities and differences. How are they the same and how are they different? Well, they both are warm-blooded vertebrates, right? They both have backbones. However, mammals have fur or hair, whereas birds have feathers. Mammals give birth to live babies, whereas baby birds hatch from eggs, and mammals have mammary glands, which birds do not. How do birds feed their babies? Right? They usually go out and catch worms and insects and things for the babies. Would you say the duck-billed platypus and the spiny anteater are pattern breakers? Yes, they're pattern breakers. Why are they pattern breakers? Do you remember? Well, they both lay eggs, right? They're the only mammals that lay eggs. Would you say that humans are semi-aquatic? Would you say that humans are semi-aquatic? More specifically, are you aquatic? All right, and then I want you to explain your answer. Why or why not did you say that? Why do you think you're semi-aquatic or aquatic? Give me a nice, good few sentences about that, please. Our word for today is stately. In the read aloud, you heard Rattenborough describing a giraffe and saying, I love his stately long neck. Say the word stately. When something is stately, it is grand or impressive in size or manner. The stately marching band at my brother's high school football game made the game feel very important. Have you ever witnessed anything that was stately? What was it and where were you? Make sure you use the word stately in your sentence. All right, good job, guys. Tomorrow will be our last lesson, our last read aloud in this unit. So I'm excited for that. Kind of sad that it's almost over.